Get mantra and meditation MP3s at JasonGallant.ca.
So I started filming a video and I was going to teach you something extremely wise. And then I realized I don't know anything. So it's really hard to teach you stuff when I don't know anything, just so you know. But the differences between me and someone else is that I'm okay with not knowing anything. Because who you are has nothing to do with what you know. Most of the time, what you know has everything to do with micromanaging the ego or doing something with your identity, accomplishing something, fulfilling desires, avoiding fears. That's a lot of what people know. But what they know very little of is letting go of that game altogether. And it's not like it's complicated. It's not really complicated. But the complication comes from the fact that they don't know it's possible. The possibility has never entered their mind that they don't have to play this game. It's kind of like a dog chasing his tail around in circles and not realizing that he has the option of maybe going to chase the cat instead. So, knowing something, although some great sages have been so smart, I mean, sit on there with the long beards and sit on mountaintops. I don't know why, maybe the mountaintops have good libraries or something. Maybe there's lots of books up there that I don't know about and they read them and then they impart this knowledge upon people. Perhaps that's why they're so wise and smart. But intelligence has nothing to do with awakening. And I know that from personal experience. Because nothing in me shifted in intelligence as I went through a certain process with my teacher. My entire experience of life changed after this one critical moment, and it had nothing to do with what I knew, information I had. That's why some of the greatest sages don't know anything about scripture, they don't know anything about religion. They just sit there and say, hey, yeah, this shit happened to me. You know, it's kind of funny, right? When people start quoting scripture, what about this, what about that? They're like, yeah, it's all a fine story you're telling me, but really has nothing to do with what happened to me. But I'm noticing some weird stuff, like, you know, some lights and stuff are flying off me, or maybe I am happier with a lot less. Things are happening which are joyously fulfilling, whereas before they were not rewarding at all. But my experience or my capacity to experience life has turned up a million. It's turned up a million times. So it's really important for you to know that when you're looking for a spiritual expert, and I'm not claiming to be one, because who cares about that? I don't know anything, remember? What they know is not necessarily so important. Because there are certain corrupt spiritual teachers out there, and I will not name names, but there's one in particular that I know of, that entices people with elaborate stories about what happens here, what happens there, what happens in this realm, and what happens in that realm, what happens to you when you die, and when you know, all these things. But really what they're doing when they're doing this is that they're enslaving you in a story. But it's not ever freeing you from the story. Now, I love stories, and you can enjoy stories, but you don't have to believe that you're locked in the story. That's what I'm saying. The fulfillment of who you are is not found in a story. It's found right here when you let go of all the stories and all the dreams and ideas and desires and needs and fears. When you let go of all this and just take a break and just say, hey, nothing needs to happen. Nothing's needed. And just be here, breathe, meditate, chant mantra if that helps. Whatever spiritual practice you do, I'm okay with that. I'm not saying anyone is bad or good. But what I am saying is that if you're locked in a story, you're locked in the mind, and the mind is not enlightenment. And the ironic thing about this, if that's the right word, is that when you let go of the mind and fall into who you are, then when you come back into the mind has a greater capacity to hold information, and to understand and to think scientifically. Which doesn't say much for me. But the fact is that don't look for information to free you. Information won't. Surrender will. Surrender will. It's very underrated. When you use the word surrender in Western society, it's almost like they get the crucifix out and think corrupt teacher and corruption here, corruption there. But I'm saying surrender to this moment. Surrender to what is before you, but surrender to the experiences within first and foremost. Don't worry, the truth will still be there after you're done surrendering. And you'll have greater clarity in what is needed in any one situation. It's what happens within that's so important. Now, of course, when a certain process happens within, it will inevitably affect the external at some point. But so many people are going about it backwards. They're trying to affect the external and thinking that somehow the internal motive is going to change after they change the external. Somebody doesn't like their situation, and then they change their situation, and then they don't like that situation, then they change the situation, don't like that situation. Guess what? If you're bringing the same experience into every situation, it's something inside that's creating that experience. It isn't the external that's causing it. So, surrender. If I don't know anything, I guess you don't need to know anything either. It's pretty powerful. It just lops the head right off of you. And it's like that's it. No more thinking. Trees don't think. Not in the same way we do. They seem pretty good. No, they can't do all the stuff you do, but maybe they do more than we do. Who knows? Again, I don't know anything. So I hope this gives you a lot of information on your spiritual journey. Now you know that everything you know is crap and you don't need to know anything, and then that's it. Thanks for watching. Take care for now.